Scene 29, Natural Causes. The young sheriff reports to Bell about the 3 dead Mexicans, how there was a lock blown out at Hill del Rio. And Bell responds by saying, well, I guess they died of natural causes. Which is humorous because they were shot by Chigurh, as opposed to dying in their sleep or of heart attacks. Natural causes because getting shot and killed was natural to their line of work. Bell recounts a story from a California newspaper about how some old people were taken prisoner, their Social Security checks cashed, stolen, their bodies buried in the backyard, one of them found running down the street with a dog collar around his neck. A slight allusion to this story. Bell points out that that's what it took for someone to notice something going wrong. Digging graves wasn't enough to get anybody's notice until somebody was running down the street with a dog collar. The young sheriff laughs, and Bell at first criticizes the laugh, but then agrees that all you can do is laugh, implying that law enforcement or justice is something only to be hoped for, but can no longer be attained given the new state of evil. Bell goes on to mock the situation by saying there must not have been anything on television that week. That's why these people needed to do this. Further humor is found in the following scene where Moss is attempting to cross the border into the U.S. He's only wearing a white robe, and the American border guard begins to interrogate him, in contrast to the Mexican border guard who was asleep when he entered the country. Only because Moss is polite, saying, "Yes, sir," does the border guard relent and assist Moss back into the U.S., only in his white robe. He enters the shoe store, the boot store, and the shopkeeper very understatedly says it's only unusual that he's never seen anyone come into his store without clothes. Moss, again now in full Western attire, is seen down in the riverbed amongst the tall weeds, swatting a mosquito off of his neck. His imperfect name, Moss, is very much associated with the overgrown grass, and the swatting of the bug might symbolize decay. As we discussed earlier, the name Moss also is alliterative and sounds like the word mess. And this brings us to examine the name Chigurh. Obviously his first name is Anton, and that works well to describe him as a sort of antichrist. Chigurh, we learn, sounds somewhat alliteratively like the word sugar. Indeed, when Wells mentioned the full name, Anton Chigurh, Moss questioned mockingly, "Sugar?" as if to say, this is the last guy to have such a sweet name. Moss is now on the phone at an airport, and a pretty girl walks by, and his eyes look down to her rear section just for a moment, as he unfortunately speaks to Carla Jean for the very last time over the phone, directing her to meet him at the Desert Sands Hotel. This information ultimately will get in the hands of the bad guys, where they will find Moss. And perhaps slips through and comes through the mouth of Grandma, who in the background is saying words such as discombobulated and I got the cancer.